So I'm in my own backyard today. There is the glorious family pool that I showed in a previous video, and it's been installed about a month now, and I love it. On a day like today when the humidity feels like 100%, it's nice to be able to jump in the hottest part of the day and cool off. But my son and I this spring did enough mulch and landscaping jobs for everyone else. And you know what they say, the business owner always gets neglected in terms of their own property. So the wife and I finally decided that it was time that our own backyard got a little attention. Before I make too much more progress, I thought I would give an update of what I'm doing and then maybe capture a little more video along the way as I complete this project. But just a little context, I do not water my backyard. I think watering grass is a waste of resources. I do water the front, but the back kind of is on its own. So for the most part, this is a 20-year-old neighborhood, so we finally have trees that are fairly established, so the backyard is mostly shaded for a good part of the day. We do have a little brown spot there over by the fence that gets the sun for most of the day. You can see it takes the brunt of the sunshine. So what I've decided to do here is make a nice big berm and a large mulch bed in the back here. And so what I've done first is I just lay out this long hose, and so I can kind of eyeball my outline and I get the curvature that I'd like, and then with my landscaping tools I just make my trench and go around and peel up the sod. And I've just carved out along the edge here. I've got a lot of tree roots here, so it's kind of hard going, but I'm just going around the edge, pulling up the sod, making a nice live edge, and then just dumping everything in the middle here, kind of piling it up. Mulch is cheap. I can haul 8 yards at a time, so my plan is just to buy as much as I need to make a nice tall berm back here. So I don't plan to bring any soil in to berm it up. I'm just going to berm it up with mulch. So the next space over here, the attention that it's going to get, I'm going to bring in I've got some limestone foundational rocks from a farm building that is on a property that I have access to. And I'm going to make an outline here and then fill it in with some rock and make a nice little area with a fire pit and a place to hang out here on the grass. And then the grill can come down here for cooking, and then the edge here will wrap around to the house. I've got a pretty bad spot here that I'm going to fill in with mulch. And then just to give you an idea of what the previous bed looked like, this was the edge that I used previously. Those are just interlocking bricks. I did really like these bricks. I've had them for a long time. As they sink over time, I just pull them up, shove a little dirt underneath them, and interlock them back into a nice straight row. So very low maintenance, but my son and I have been doing a lot of live edges now on our new beds, and that's really kind of the way I prefer to go on my own backyard here. So I've just been cutting this live edge. I'll true it up a little bit, but the goal is to make a nice live edge here that I can use against my mulch berm here, and then it's easily maintained with edging with a string trimmer. So this is where I'm at so far. I do plan to level up this space. It's hard to see on the camera, but right here there is a little bit of a slope going up towards the stairs, and I'm going to cut just a little bit of that out with my Bobcat. So yep, I'm going to bring the 310 back out, and I'll do a little more video of that working. is the Bobcat 310. A couple things. Number one, it's much better than a shovel, slightly better than a shovel, but it does move dirt, you know, fairly quickly. I don't know if you can see in the video, it's a little bit hard with a smooth bucket like this. I wish I had teeth for what I'm trying to do. Once I get under the sod layer, then I can kind of peel enough dirt, just a few inches of dirt at a time. But I think having teeth on a bucket would be a lot easier to, you know, just take out a few inches of material at a time. So that, I guess that's the only improvement I would say that I'd like with this machine. Otherwise, for what it is, it really is, you know, a pretty useful machine. And like I said, you know, slightly better than a shovel. But here you should be able to see what I'm trying to achieve. I'm just taking out a few more inches of dirt on the high side. Up here next to the mulch bed, I'm going to have a little bit of a drop, and I'm going to put in a just a slight retaining wall from the higher elevation, so then it can drop down to this flat spot that I'm making with the Bobcat right now. These are some limestone blocks that I found off of a farm building foundation, and the building has been long gone, but the foundation is still there. And so these are really nice blocks for stacking and making retaining walls. So I did this earlier this summer, and so I've got plenty of this material left, and I just plan to take some of this and make a retaining wall in the back as well. So I'm going to get back into the Bobcat. I'm going to take a few more inches of dirt. We still have a pretty good slope right here, so I'm going to take a few more inches here on the top side, and here you can see the excess dirt. I'm just piling up on top where the berm is going to be, and then I'll level that off with the Bobcat when I'm done, and then I'll bring in several yards of mulch over the top. Well, I think I have as many inches of dirt removed as I want, and it's looking fairly level with just a little bit of slope left, which is what I want. And what I'm going to do is take that limestone block, foundation block, and I'm going to make about a 12 to 18 inch high retaining wall just around the inside edge here. And then I've got plenty of dirt there I can backfill against that retaining wall. And then down here will be nice and level. And the plan is just to get some crushed limestone and line this down here. And then I'll put a fire pit, and we'll have a nice place to set up some chairs. So I just went and fetched a load of limestone. These were from a foundation. The building's been long gone, but the foundation is still there. And so this is a great use of repurposing some really nice heavy stones. Some of these are about all I want to lift on my own, probably 100 pounds by themselves. So this will make the base for my retaining wall, and then there's some flatter rocks, almost like flagstone, that I might use as a border between some grass and the limestone crush that I plan to use for the fire pit area. So this is day one coming to a close, and one thing I haven't mentioned is budget. This is certainly not a $20,000 backyard project, and so far this has cost me a little bit of gas in my truck and in my Bobcat. I realize not everybody has a Bobcat sitting around to use. I just so happen to have a machine readily available. But I do like to do things on the cheap and reuse when I can. So that's where the limestone came in handy. I can repurpose this. And then from a mulch perspective, I can buy it wholesale, being a lawn care provider. So that's going to be budget friendly. And then the limestone that's going to go, the crushed limestone that's going to go down here on the fire pit area will be fairly budget friendly as well. So again, day one, I think I accomplished quite a bit, and stay tuned for more progress.